Let's move on to markets, though. Bitcoin just roaring first, but like the Canadian stock market, though, or sorry, the markets in general, just kind of like, again, just kind of chunking along there. That's off like 300 points right now. Again, holding. It's kind of like in a holding pattern as it waits to develop. But gold above the $3,300 mark again in US dollars, 33.08, up $16 today. So holding that after it hit that high of 3,500. But the one that we want to talk about there is Bitcoin. There goes Bitcoin, right? We said it was going to challenge its old high, and there it is. Now what does it do, I guess is the question. What does it do from here? Does it push through and go like a lot higher, or does it fall back? And it has fallen back a bit here right now, currently at 105,000 after it touched that again, right? So that's what you get whenever you leave those psychological barriers. Actually, it's 109 right now, 109,505. So there you go. I think it just broke an all-time high.
I would imagine panic is going to follow now, as has often been the case with Bitcoin, and then it'll be back up again. It's just such an unruly investment, that, isn't it?
I do think, though, like if it breaks through and closes above the all-time high here, it could go substantially higher. There you go. Canadian dollar, again, looking for direction, not finding much.
It's having a little bit of a jump there, isn't it? But
yeah. Remains to be seen.
It's creating a nice little valley there.
The valley of the shadow?
Let's hope not.
The Canadian Pension Fund, the Financial Post did a story. Even though with all this buy Canadian pressure, the Canadian Pension Fund is buying a lot more U.S. assets.
Canadians like the idea that their pensions will grow in value, I suppose. And if that's what you want, then yeah, you're gonna have to go to America.
Yeah. So I mean, buy Canadian, except if you're a big hedge fund, you're Brookfield or what have you, then you go to the U.S. An opinion piece written by Gwen Morgan of the Financial Post there too, on wondering what we're going to get to see out of Mark Carney, because he has been, a climate kind of like czar, and the carbon tax is now zero, but the Prime Minister's background is about, like you said earlier, climate alarmism in the financial sector. And he was the co-chair of that Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero and the UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance. Like he definitely founded quite a few things. He was a regular at Davos and all that kind of stuff. And energy superpowers don't import much foreign oil, but much of Quebec's oil comes from Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Nigeria. That's funny. They don't want a pipeline from Alberta, but they'll gladly take the oil from Saudi Arabia, Algeria, and Nigeria.
Well, even Carney mentioned the lunacy of that, didn't he? But
right.
He's being so timid when it comes to these projects, considering that he's told us we're in the biggest crisis since the Second World War. He's been awfully timid, isn't he? Because he's like, of course, we'll do these things if our friends in Quebec let us do it, and if the First Nations let us and give us permission, which we'll ask for very nicely. Can you imagine, like Winston Churchill? I know I often bring up this comparison, but this is Mark Carney. He's created this comparison, not me. But can you imagine Winston Churchill being like, "Oh, ma, I'm awfully sorry, but would you mind if I did something to win this war? Because we kind of need to win this war." But Mark Carney, I mean, that's an indication, isn't it, of how he's going to govern. He's exaggerated the threat from the US to get elected, and then immediately his actions tell you that he doesn't take it even half as seriously as he suggests. And then he's going to bottle, as we say. He's not going to go through with a lot of these projects, and he's going to say, "Well, we asked, and Quebec said no." So I guess that's it. Which is not really how you behave in a war, is it? It's not how you believe in behave in an existential crisis, which they love to talk about.